Hello and welcome to Mining Indaba 2025. And today I'm speaking to Shami Luvengo, who's the CEO of Indaba Resources. Shami, thank you very much for joining us. Now, I want to touch on a very important topic that's not just important to South Africa, but Africa as a whole, and that's a social license to operate. And you spoke on a panel about this topic. Now, talk to me about some of the key takeaways that came out of the panel discussion.
Well, I think for me, the biggest takeaway was how I think one of my colleagues from the Minerals Council tried to differentiate the difference between a legal license to operate versus a social license to operate. A legal license to operate gives you a legal basis to be able to go and say you're going to comply with whatever the rules and regulations of that country/department that regulates. Whereas a social license, I look at it from a point of view that how does a company gets to interact with people in an area where they are interacting outside the controls of a legal license. What I mean by that is any government in the world will have certain expectations on how they expect you to operate. But we shouldn't get that means you're fully compliant. Companies like us must find time and set up systems on how we engage with the communities where we operate here to be able to do far above and beyond what the legal license gives it. For me, that was the biggest key takeaway. And out of that, I actually realized that a social license, it's not legally bound and it's not regulated bound.
Yeah.
It is up to us as the company and our philosophy and our strategy to talk about how do we want to make sure we leave a meaningful contribution out of that without referring to what was granted. And that for me was key as well, because we got to come up with ideas, and you can only do that while you're interacting with the communities. And I think that's the on that for me. I actually realized that the social license is much more important because it is the people who are the direct beneficiaries of what we're doing who are supposed to tell you, in the end, we're happy, we're not happy. Oh, you've made a meaningful contribution. Oh, you can still. So we like that more because it gives us a better understanding of what people are looking for on the ground. And that is, for me, these were the three main takeaways from science.
Okay. Now let's turn our attention to your own company. Talk to me about some of the initiatives that you've implemented in communities where you operate to ensure that you are making a meaningful difference. But I think most importantly, Shami, talk to me about how you're going to ensure that it's sustainable long after the mines are closed.
Okay. So part of what we've tried to do is to look at how we've always been prepared to think differently about a few things. For an example, how do we make sure that when we get into a community where we operate, we help set up businesses that are sustainable beyond our operations? So we try to help create businesses that tomorrow, even if the mine was to close, that business might be able to still pitch for work in Namibia, whatever it is. I can give you some few examples where we had businesses that where somebody came in, maybe first and foremost, they were just supplying a front-end loader.
Yeah.
We then help them to be able to move towards crushing screening, for an example. But out of that, we give them the foundation to be able to dream much bigger. And we encourage them to say, hey, go talk to other mines. What we definitely want to see out of you is you might have started here, but we are not afraid and we're not worried that you can outgrow us. We've done that on the trucking side. We were one of the few companies to actually start community-based trucking. And I will encourage them to say, guys, it's a start. But we want to see you be as big as some of the bigger guys on the logistics space. So we are very focused on making sure that the businesses we help create are able to grow and be much bigger than just focus on one single mine.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things we're trying to do now, for an example, is how do we make sure that some of those businesses across our operations, can they get business opportunities? So we don't just assume that if you're out of Kruhu area, you can only operate at one of our mines, not class 10. we try and look for opportunities that we give you. If we're going to be at Delmas, we give you an opportunity there. To Belfast, we give you an opportunity there as well. That creates sustainability. I think most of us are scared of thinking that we are here to try and create companies that can go beyond where they started. We started with one mind, and it has morphed into a much bigger country company. We now dream to even try and conquer the continent, and so that is our philosophy. We like working like that. So we are very passionate about creating companies that we can help them start back flow. I think that's the on that. I love how even just having a contract with us forces you to think differently about supplier development and all of that. So we have embraced that. We're probably one of the few companies that are prepared to think differently in a whole lot of things. For us, development of local-based companies is not a tick in the box. It's part of what we spoke earlier, a social license, but we definitely want to see those companies grow to be much bigger than when it started.
Okay. Now, finally, Shami, you mentioned thinking differently.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that you are also exploring new avenues in renewable energy, etc. Talk to me about those plans, and also keeping in mind, community development.
Yeah.
How will that benefit the communities in which you operate in?
Yes. So we actually just finished the pre-feasibility study for our first 30 megawatt solar power project.
Yeah.
It should be in the Belfast area.
Wow.
What we did well there was that we've got 2 operations there now, right? So we definitely did a pre-phase that incorporates the 2 operations. But what I like about what the team in energy is working on is how they've engaged with the local municipality.
Right.
Okay. The local municipality also want the benefit out of those kind of projects. So we have always looked at it in a cooperative manner, that it cannot just be the benefit for us to be able to do that, but we have engaged local municipalities to say, look, how do we make it part of that project? So when we look at the greening of energy, our role is to make sure that we build a sustainable business out of it. That's number one. But it is not only beneficial to us, but beneficial to the wider community within where we operate. I think for me, going forward, and for us going forward, not necessarily for me, we look forward to a part where how do we make sure that there is reskilling of people towards the greening of our energy in South Africa. If there's one thing that bothers me about the transition, it's that there is not enough focus on making sure that we prepare local people to be able to be the ones who go and service these things. Everything is coming from wherever it is. So part of what we've got to try and start doing as mining companies is to make sure that we help upskill people in the area such that they can be able to service whatever needs to service. Those solar panels, washing, whatever it is, right? So, and that is why for us it's holistic. We always want to make sure that we do things differently in a manner that includes the local community. And we're genuine about that. It is one of the things that I'll keep an eye on our green strategy to say, guys, people who are going to look after this, where are they? Okay, and we start preparing. I mean, just as a side note, that's one of the things. When we got going in mining, coal mining, one of the things we did very well was to have what we call community-based training for ADT operators, excavator operators, FEL operators. And we said, you don't have to work for us. Okay? But we will train. If you get a job in the Northern Cape, you go. If you want to come back home one day, we'll get a vacancy. We want to be able to bring you such that it can be closer to your family. Yeah. The green side has not even gotten going on that. We need to go and train more people to be the ones who lay down the cables and whatever that is required. We have not done that. We need to switch towards that. So when we are doing this, we've got to make sure that part of the upkeep of those energy pots, it's done by local people. And that is why for us it's very key that as and when we expand, the people who are from that area benefit, like substantially so. And I would love to see one day where companies are born out of that go and service other countries and other regions out of where we operate from the green space here.
Great stuff. Well, Shami, thank you so much for your time. And it's good to see that your company is generally committed to building sustainable communities in South Africa and also on the continent.
Thank you very much for that. Try us again. We would like to keep you updated on what we're doing, but thank you very much for the opportunity to pass our message.
Great, sir.